Trees, trees, trees. It's September and this is the time of year to be thinking about planting trees. Get them planted now. The roots get a good start in the autumn before they have to start growing in the spring. The tree will put on much more growth in its first year and need less looking after. February, March, April and early May is another good time of year to plant trees. And today we're going to have a look at some of my favourite trees in the display garden at Glendoick, next to the garden centre. You can come and have a look yourself. This one here with this magnificent white bark is a birch tree from the Himalayas. Most of you will be familiar with the big silver birch trees that you'll see everywhere in Scotland. It's a native tree. This one slightly more manageable than the silver birch, which does get enormous. This is Perthshire Montii, and it's a multi-stemmed one. What's happened is that somebody's cut the tree off in order to get lots of stems coming out of it. We do have one or two multi-stem trees available at Glendoick. They tend to be more expensive because you've had to grow a tree and then cut it off and get it to grow again. This absolutely wonderful Himalayan beech, utilice or manii, has this extraordinary peeling brown bark, which it looks really attractive as it starts to flake off on the tree. What's it for? Why do these trees have bark like this? Well, we think that it's to stop lichens and moss and other plants growing on the bark. Every time that gets covered in moss in a sort of damp climate in the forest, the tree simply sheds all the stuff that's growing on it by peeling it off and starting again, a bit like a snake shedding its skin. As you can make beautiful artwork on this by drawing on it. Fantastic. It looks great all the year round. I'm very keen to encourage people to select trees that have more than one period of interest in the year. So if something with a beautiful bark like this will always be attractive 12 months of the year. What a magnificent sight. Nothing more spectacular at this time of year than this amazing tree here, Eucryphia Rostrevor. It's a southern hemisphere plant, and it's actually, this one is a cross between two species, one from Tasmania and Australia and the other from Chile, and it produces this amazing evergreen tree with these slightly scented white flowers, and it attracts lots and lots of pollinators. The whole tree is humming with hoverflies and bees and other pollinators. In Australia, this is one of the trees that is used for making honey in Tasmania. It's a vigorous plant, it's evergreen, it'll grow up to 1 metre a year. This one here, which is well over 25 feet high now, has been in for about 20 years, so it gives you an idea of the size. And you need to plant it in a sunny site. You won't get very good flowering of it if you plant it in a shady site, and it definitely flowers really well on the sunny side, so make sure that that's the side that you view it from. You really can't get anything more spectacular than this tree at this time of year. Many trees have finished flowering in the autumn, and so Eucryphia is a must if you've got space for it. So I'm standing under another magnificent tree. This is an acer, or a maple, with red leaves called Crimson King. And the great thing about these maples is that they have coloured leaves called palmate leaves. They kind of look a little bit like a palm tree with 5 fingers sticking out. It's one of the characteristics of a maple, and as you can see here we've got two ones contrasting colour. The colour is starting to fade a little bit in the red one now, but most of the year it's a really dark burgundy red colour, and this one is one of the golden leaved ones, Acer Drummondii. There's several of these. Brilliantissima is another one that have pale or coloured or orange, a fawn, peachy cream or white or yellow leaves all the way through the summer, and then they often colour up well in the autumn, so you get another period of interest after that. These are really tough trees. They will, as you can see from this one, get pretty large in time, so be careful not to plant them where you don't want to overshade or overshadow your neighbours, but two very good, easy to please trees, and they'll even do well in clay, heavy clay soil and less than ideal conditions, and they're pretty wind tolerant, so definitely a good choice.